Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Push Start with Ands. Now, if you're on video, you're very confused. You're like, what's this Push Start with Ands and why should I listen anyway? Well, I've been running a podcast for the past 2 to 3 years, and thank you so much to the podcast listeners. It's been doing very well. So this podcast shares the tips, tools, and tricks to help you get started on a productivity, career, and micro-entrepreneurship journey. But we have decided to expand while still focusing on those areas and created this video version below. So to get some housekeeping out of the way, anything that is interesting, any tools that I reference throughout the video or audio, I'll definitely link down in the description below or in the show notes. So you can get that at Push Start Podcasts, right, on Spotify and all the other streaming platforms, and then on YouTube you can look for it as Push Start. Now, this mini series that we are doing today, since it's a Monday, it's called Matric Mondays. Now, the reason why I did this is because I'm very aware of the challenges that matric students, or at least 12th grade students, are facing all around the world, but specifically matric students in South African markets. So I know the pandemic hasn't been very kind to them, and also with the world of work and what they're hearing from their graduated peers or friends or people that are just around at home. So I just want to make things easier for them by teaching some things that I learned from other content creators, I learned from other people that have mentored me, and also I share my triumphs and mistakes that I've made. So this is Matric Mondays, and we are starting off with the 8 things you need to do if you're in matric right now. So first off, we want to address the question, what are we solving for? Now, we are solving for you becoming a productive and self-reliant young adult. Now, we know it is very hard to depend on big institutions during this time because a lot is changing and a lot of things are unstable. But we want you as a young adult coming out of matric to be equipped with the right tools. So you definitely want to, number one, get clear on what you want to do. Now, notice there's a distinction. Not exactly what you want to study, but what you want to do as a person. Now, there's a book that I love that I read so many years ago, but I keep on going back to chapters, and that is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen R. Covey. I also have a summary of the book in the podcast, link in the description below, and if you're on audio, in the show notes. So, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Overarching principles that you need to learn is, number one, you need to be productive. And number 2, you need to think about the end in mind. So you think about the person that you want to become in the next 10 years. So what you want to do. Now, I know you might have interest in different things, but this mental model that I'm giving you, I so wish that someone taught me this in LO. Could have saved me a lot of fears and a lot of heartbreak and heartache. So you want to look at a few things. You want to look at your interests, of course. So make a list of things that you are wildly interested in, things that you get your mind zoned into and you don't get bored while doing them, right? So write down all of those things, those interests, right? And then also you want to write down your skills. So what skills do you have? Are you a good drawer? Do you speak to people in a nice way and make people feel welcomed? What else do you know how to do? Do you know how to fix cars, fix things? List all of those interests there, right? And then also you want to look at your interest, your skills, and what the market is offering for them. Because we know we want to fund our basic needs like housing, security, transportation, and of course having some fun. So you want to have something that allows you to have a good life whilst you also fulfilling your passion or your interests. Now, passion, you need to be careful here. There is a book by Carl Newport that says, so good they can't ignore you, where it says, just chasing passion on its own can be dangerous if you don't have the right framework in mind. So what we are doing with this mental model, we are setting the runway up for exactly that. So it is passion, interests, skills, what the market is offering. So you search that by looking at the salaries, looking at how much people are making when they are pursuing that need. Now here you need to be careful. You need to look at the baseline. You need to look at the average, the people that are in the middle. Don't go looking at the 1%. You will get to that. But look at the people in the middle and see if you will be comfortable making that living. I also recommend minimalism so that you can enjoy all of those benefits without feeling so stressed. by materialistic needs, but more on those if you watch the channel. And then lastly, you want to learn entrepreneurial micro skills. There's a book that I'm reading now. The title, it immediately escaped me, but I'll link it down in the description below. But it teaches you on how to learn micro skills. So things like selling, right? Things like doing a market survey, which is what we talked about. So looking at how you can monetize the skill that you have now. Now, I've seen a lot of people do different things. Doctors that have YouTube channels. Check out Ali Abdal, who has a channel on that. Business majors that also have YouTube channels and are social media creators, and they love what they're doing. Check out Yenzi Wengwenya at It's Intentional Yenzi. She's actually the inspiration behind this channel because she taught me how to handle the camera. I wish I'm doing that correctly, Yenzi. But yeah, so balance those things: passion, skills, also the market, what it's offering, and then also micro skills, engineering, entrepreneurship, micro skills. So let's get into the second one, and that is you need to get clear on how you're going to fund your dream. Now, it's no secret that there's a big funding crisis for students all around the world, and also especially where I'm from, South Africa. Now, you really do need to take this serious because this can have big implications on your life. Now, imagine you start learning and you start doing your passion, right? But now you have a crippling debt that you need to handle. 60,000, 80,000, 100,000. I'm saying these numbers because these are the numbers that we used to see on our student statements. And if that is a credit that is due to whoever you're paying for that service, that can have a crippling effect, and also it could hamper your freedom because all you'll be doing that time is paying off the debt. Now, I do not mean this to scare you, but I'm just sharing the reality of what students are living in right now. Now, I believe this is a bigger problem. We do need to sit down as a community and discuss ways that we can make this better. But I think the conversation starts at us being more mindful and being more careful about the choices that we make and how we are going to fund for our studies. Now, it's very easy for people to say to you, hey, you just got good marks, just go and apply, the bursaries are out there, blah, 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 and all of those things. Things are very different. I remember from my matric, I got fairly okay marks, good marks in order to get me a bursary, but I didn't for 3 years. And that almost crippled me by having a debt in my account. And another instance, at my final year, when I was almost quarter to graduating, my funding got cut. I won't say by who, but my funding got cut. And I did nothing wrong, but because laws changed. And you need to learn about these laws that apply in the current funding space. Things that you need to qualify for, how to get your funding. Now, there's someone in my network, Busisi Wendlapo, that has shared 5 ways to get funding. I'll link in the description down below. But you definitely need to get clear on how you're going to fund your dreams. Now, there are different ways to do this, and we'll be talking about this more on the channel. The people that choose to go the self-learning route, now these are the people that are more entrepreneurial. There are pros and cons to that. There are people that choose to go for learnerships, right, which might be sponsored by a company, which might be sponsored by a government. Learn about those things. Learn about scholarships that you need to get, the types of marks that you need to get for scholarships, interviews that you need to attend. Also, the National Funding Scheme, right? I can't say the name, right? The National Funding Scheme. Know what laws are in there. Go into their website and read everything. If you are on Twitter, follow the minister and learn what he says every day, because these things can put a shift into how you're funded and how your life will pan out. Definitely, guys, if you are going to school, graduate with no debt. That's what we're pushing for right now. All right, thank you. Now, since we are on that issue of finance, another thing that I'd recommend, the third one, is to get a student bank account, as in now, like now. You really do need to get that. Now, there are a lot of things that you're interested in. You might be interested in movies, but we can't go to those now. You might be interested in clothes. You might need to buy equipment for your new side passion, whether it's starting a YouTube channel, a podcast, whatever that interests you. Now, you need to take advantage of the position where you're at now, and that's being a student. And being a student is awesome. I miss that, because you have discounts that banks are giving to you. Now you need to look out for different types of schemes that are there for banks, right? Now, why am I saying this? You need to get used to handling geld, chelete, money, mula, machankura, right? So you need to get used to handling money. You need to get used to bank charges as a young adult. You'll definitely know about that. And the best you learn about that is now. So you need to learn about bank charges. You need to learn about discounts. You need to learn about savings. So you might have your debit account, and you also might have your savings account. Now, the nice thing about being a student is that you might have some interest and low costs into your bank account, but that gets you into the habit of being an adult that is handling their money. And also, we need to get used to tobeting, being there at an ATM safely. Because one thing for sure, you don't want to learn about an ATM and how to deposit the first time when you go to Bramfontein. Trust me, I did that. That's not a nice experience. So learn about finance now and immerse yourself into the world of banking. Get yourself a banking account. Now, I know some branches might be closed in some areas, so learn how to do that online in a safe way. So you learn about internet security. Ask your parents to help you with it, because you might need proof of registration, residence from them. You might need that. And also, you also might need an ID. If you haven't done an ID, please do it now, because in the current situation we're in, we might have limited access to the Home Office depending on what level of regulation we're in. Okay, now that we got your mula, chankura, child health situation sorted out, we need to start sorting out your development. Now, you need to start learning productive habits right now. Now, someone might say, Andile, you're just promoting your channel, you want us to watch more of your stuff. No, actually, I want you to do more of the stuff rather than watch more of the stuff. And also, productivity builds over time. It creates an exponential effect. Hashtag omunye phezu komunye. By the time that you have mastered these things, you'll be a machine while also taking care of yourself. Now, I'm all for hard work, I'm all for productivity, but I'm big on self-care, and I'm big on a holistic lifestyle, caring for your family, caring for your friends, caring for, most importantly, yourself, while also being productive. So I know how it goes in Matric. There'll be a ton of speakers that will come to your school and tell you about how you need to sacrifice everything, including your sleep. Now, that's where I have a problem. Your sleep, right? You need to get rest. And these productivity habits will allow you to get rest. These systems will allow you to get rest, so that the next time you're writing an exam, you're sharp, you're ready, you're good, your mental is working correctly. So definitely keep productive systems in mind. Now, what are productive systems? Now, we could start with basics, things that you can easily start with. One, making the most out of your day, right? Now, I know there are different types of people. There are things called sleep chronotypes, or how we perform during the day. That's a more advanced topic, but you can definitely check that out when I cover it on the show. But you need to maximize your waking hours. So that includes eliminating distractions, right? So maybe it might be worth it to delete some of the social media apps on your phone, or put blocking measures on your phone in order to limit the time that you spend on social media. It might be optimizing. So preparing lunch for 2 days, right? Keeping the lunch fresh, of course, but preparing lunch for 2 days, so that Monday, Tuesday, I already have lunch in the bag, and I don't have to go to the tuck shop. I can just chill with my friends at the class and eat, and then just 5 minutes, 10 minutes after that, we get back to studying, so that when I get home, I know I'm relaxing. Now, we used to do this other thing. Shout out to my friends, actually. They really helped me a lot with this one. We used to do this other thing where we went to the local school, right? It's Misele Secondary School. Shout out to them from Guatemala, doing big things there. We used to go to that school, right? And then study from, say, 3 to about 6 or 7, with breaks in between, some soccer breaks and stuff like that. But we used to be very disciplined, so that because we knew we came from homes where there are kids in the background, there's TV, they want to watch soapies, so you can't really do studying at that prime time where soapies are playing. So we had to make the most out of our days during the day, actually. So we used to go there, study, practice, pass papers, and do all of those things. More efficient studying later on. So we used to do those things, so that when we go back home, we know that most of our work is covered. And if you want to have an early night and sleep at 10 p.m., you can definitely do that. And if you want to wake up earlier, you can, because you got enough rest, you got enough break time, you were socializing with friends responsibly, and also sorting out your studying right there and there and making the most out of your time, right? So you definitely need to start having productive systems. Now, things that I wish I should have done, right? I wish I should have blocked in more fun, so that I know that I have limited time to study. There's a very funny effect that happens when you allocate less time to studying. You start finding ways to optimize your studying time so you become more efficient. I learned about this in varsity. I was studying less hours, but I was studying more focused and got more result out of it, rather than devoting, say, 12 hours in a day to studying and getting less results for it. While we're on that tip as well, you really need to think about exercise. So that's another productive habit to have. So you need to think about exercise, why you should exercise. You might be saying, I don't have time, I have to balance all of these books, I need to be studying and all of that. No, exercise helps you focus, helps you clear your mind. It helps you. Now there's studies, dozens of studies done on this. There are books written about this, that exercise improves your mental capacity. Because if your heart and your system is running efficiently, right, and you're feeling all of this energy and good stuff, endorphins, good chemicals making you happy, right, then you are much more efficient in your studying, and you make your matric studying much easier. Now, exercising, I don't recommend that everyone should do the same program. People have different physiologies, people have different interests. Definitely don't listen to the people on YouTube that are saying, oh, you should lift weights. I'm a weight fanatic. I love lifting weights, but I know that's not for everyone. So pick something that you love. If it's soccer, playing soccer, ikorkoti, definitely do that. If it's cricket, do that. If it's dancing and you like hashing together amapiano routines, you could also turn that into a YouTube channel, by the way. But whatever keeps you moving, just don't stop moving. There's a time in my varsity where I took exercise out of my life. It was the least productive that I've ever been, because my system was out of whack, my digestive system, all of those problems. But definitely keep exercise in your routine. Now, here's the big one. You need to start learning how to learn effectively and efficiently. Now, I'll break down what those words mean in this context. Effectively means that you're studying the right kind of stuff, right? The relevant stuff. And then efficiently means that you are studying as fast as you can so that you have less study time, right? But getting the most results. Now, I'll teach you an entrepreneurship term that they love using, and that is return on investment. Now, you want to make sure that you have smaller amounts of study time, but big results in terms of your matric marks. So how do we do that? Studying effectively. Now, you need to know what is being assessed most of the time, not the exact thing, but the type of assessment that goes into matric exams. Now, you need to get past exam papers. Now, some schools offer this for free, but I don't think anyone should be selling past papers, honestly. But learn from people that have done matric before, especially the curriculum that is set in place right now. Learn from those people, ask for exam papers. Also, the Department of Education actually has matric past papers. If I can find them, I'll share them in the show notes and in the description. So you need to look at the type of questions that they ask. What do they ask for if they are asking questions in functions or in linear programming or in Euclidean geometry, if you're that type of person? I could never do that for the life of me, but I'm willing to learn because my brother is doing it currently. Good luck to you. So you need to learn how to learn effectively. And then another thing, you need to learn how to learn efficiently. Now, there are different types of study hacks that you can employ that could cut your study time almost by half if you employ them. An example that I can think of is spaced repetition. This is very good for people that are learning history, life sciences, or any other subject that has theory attached to it and you need to remember facts or links. Now, how it works, there's an app that you can have on Android and also iOS that is called Anki. Now, Anki is based on the principle of flashcards, Now, if you've ever seen those things at a stationery shop, those sticky notes, right? You write down stuff that you need to remember. So questions: what is mitochondria? Don't judge. It's been a while since I've been in school. What is mitochondria? Then on the flip side, you then put the answer, and then you color code these, right? So the ones that you answer well, you put aside. You'll review those at a later time. And then the ones that you actually know and but you're kind of sketchy, you put in the middle. And then the ones where for the life of you, you just can't remember them, you also put them on the side. But these are the ones that you review frequently. So you could be just, instead of scrolling on Instagram and Facebook, you could be just waiting for transportation and pull one of these bad boys out and actually start learning, looking, okay, what is mitochondria? What is environmental management? What is such and such, right? And it's even nice when you can do it on your phone, because people won't look at you with like a weirdo with all of those sticky notes that are there for life science, geography, business, and all of those things. You could just have it on your phone, and then you could just play it as a game. Oh, okay. And you can gamify it, and you can make it nice, which is another thing. Gamification. You need to make your education fun. You need to set rewards, but more of that, right? So that you encourage yourself. So there are things that you can do and to learn effectively. And I'll definitely do a video on the best strategy that allowed me to cut my study time while also maximizing the results that I'm getting academically. Now with this one right here, I'm gonna hit two birds with one stone. I do not condone hitting birds, but yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Now, the first one is you need to pick interests outside of school. Now, I know Matric, there's a lot of, you need to get stuff done, you need to do this, but it's not bad. You have 68 hours in a week, if I'm getting that right. But it's no harm on a Sunday reading up on stuff that interests you outside of school. I know school can be a chore. I'm not going to be that adult that says, no, you just need to push. I know school can be a chore. Yes, you need to push through it now to get your qualification, right? To allow for yourself to, get into other doors, whether it's varsity, whether it's, entrepreneurship or apprenticeships. But you definitely need to, start expanding your minds. If you're interested in marketing, that's that. If you're interested in YouTube video making, that's that. If you're interested in music, I know my little brother is interested in amapiano and producing that. So on weekends, he does that from time to time, right? To the peril of my younger sister, because she wants to watch TV. But pick up those interests. You can never know where those interests take you. I know when I had an interest for graphic design, I was able to turn that into a freelancing business that would fund me in times of need at varsity, when maybe my parents didn't have money to send that month, or maybe I needed to fund a date, with my girlfriend or with a couple of friends of mine there in varsity, and I didn't have money and I couldn't ask my parents for that money. Those interests allowed me, to sustain myself. So definitely pick up interests outside of school. And another thing, you need to start reading after school. Now, I know there are people that say, oh, books, they're so overrated, but I can't emphasize the impact that books has had on my life. It has taught me how to be more productive. It has taught me on how to manage relationships, which is an ongoing process that you keep learning. So books. Now, there are different ways to consume books. You can consume summaries, which I have in the podcast, right? You can consume audio books that you can find freely on YouTube or any other legal platform that you can use, right? But you need to learn. You need to learn from the masters, people that have been doing it for long, people that have studied these things, people that have applied these things, so that when you are thrust into the world of adult life, not only are you good academically or financially, but you're also a good person to be around. You're also a dependable person that people can trust. You're an assertive person that can set their boundaries. Now, there are tons of channels here on YouTube that talk about these things, but definitely learn outside of school. And last, and definitely not least, is that you need to have fun. Now, with fun, you need to be careful, because there are two sides of the coin, right? Here you have fun that could potentially put you in danger, and has a lot of irresponsible, risky actions. And then there's also the other type of fun where there's some risk. Things like mountain climbing, if you're in that environment, hiking, abseiling. But those things, they have more upside than downside. Now, I know, if you grew up in Mzansi, if you know what main pastime we have, it has been regulated a lot of times this year, the pastime that we like having. Now, you need to be careful about this particular one because I can't say it on YouTube for obvious reasons. But with this one right here, is that it has more downside than upside. And I'm speaking from experience as someone that has done it and someone that has lived through consequences of it by virtue of someone else doing it, right? So you need to be careful. I know someone might say, hey, I know this other guy, hey, he balances A and balances B. If you can do that, kudos to you. But for most of the population, people can't do that, right? So you need to be careful. There are things that we grow up that people say we should do because, hey, you should do blah, blah, blah because you're a guy. What kind of a guy doesn't do blah, 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 Or the things that, hey, more girl, hey, we're doing this thing. Yeah, what other thing do more girls don't do that, Different types of things. But you need to be careful. And circling back to the first thing, beginning with the end in mind. Now, the other side of the coin, it's activities that empower you, activities that change who you are, activities that make you transcend where you're from. Now, personally, I'm from Ekasi, which we call a township. In the States, they call a hood, right? But the habits that I developed outside of what is the norm and maybe sometimes tends into the more risky side definitely allowed me to transcend the boundaries of where I was from and allowed me to meet people that were doing exciting things, people that till this day I have a relationship with and continue to make a positive impact in my life. Whilst on the other side, which I also have experience with, they've put me in rooms where I'm looking around and I'm seeing I should not be here. There's someone that has a crime in here. There's someone that has, issues with an addiction or something like that. It has definitely put me in worse spaces when I'm doing these things. So it's up to you on what you decide your fun is. But since you have a student account, right, you have discounts on these things. You're a student. Drum up most of your friends. Go on experiences where there are people that are likely to be doing different things. Because definitely, if someone is a runner, and I know another mentor of mine, Andulele, shout out to you, who is a runner, they're definitely not doing the other things at an irresponsible, compulsive manner, right? They might dabble a bit, but they do mostly awesome stuff. So if you're in contact with those people, then you have a different impact in your life. So drum up a group of friends, right? It could be 8 of you. Start going more into these things that are more responsible, more fun. It could be going to a resort if you live in a remote area, maybe in KZN, Limpopo, or wherever. It could be going to a lodge, saying, hey, we have 15 students, right? We all have student accounts, and we are very popular on social media, so we'll boost your page, right? We'll tell people, hey, this is a place that you need to go to as a student, right? Then you go do things like abseiling, rock climbing, swimming, all of those type of things, book reviews, conferences, while also doing it in regulation because of the time that we're in now. But you can do most of these things that empower you, right? And you'll see the effects. Again, omunye phezu komunye. They just, good things keep on bringing good things. You know what I mean? So definitely do that. You can be creative. Use your youth to your advantage, your social media presence to your advantage. Go to a place, tell them you give them a discount. They must give you a discount and you promote them for free on social media with your friends. You know what I mean? But thank you so much, guys, on sparing the time and giving me the time. If you liked this and you know someone that could benefit from this, maybe you're not a matric, maybe you're a grootman or a sister that is watching for their younger brother, definitely share this to them. These are things that I wish someone would have told me in matric that could have saved me a lot of years and a lot of money and a lot of heartache. I wish I knew these things. And if you like it, then do the sharp, the like down below. A subscribe would be helpful to see much more content like this. And if you're on audio and you're an audiophile and you like podcasts, definitely subscribe to Push Start Podcast on any other streaming platform. Thank you for your time, and keep productive.